I have the unfortunate pleasure of watching my favorite football team, Arsenal, week in and week out. Yeah, the team might be going through a rough patch right now, but so are the fans. And these football pundits, as they like to call themselves, rip into the team game after game. However, these pundits have something that the players don't have: the benefit of hindsight. It is the ability to judge an event after it has already occurred, otherwise known as the "I totally knew it, but waited until it after it happened to say it" theory. Who knew taking AP psychology would come in handy someday, huh? Hindsight bias allows these analysts to rip into the team. But hey, you can't argue with a pundit, can you? Being subjected to this bias is a daily phenomenon at my house. We play this card game called Monopoly Deal, which is basically a simplified version of the classic Monopoly game. The objective is to create 3 full property sets of the same color. Pretty simple, right? I like to think of myself as a pretty calm kid, but this game is what sends me over the edge just a little bit. I find myself thinking 5, 6 moves ahead of where I actually am, which leads to my eventual downfall as I cry over my 8th consecutive loss. As I sit there, contemplating my life decisions which have led me to that moment, I can only think back at all the moves that I could have made. I should have stolen that red property from my dad when I had the chance, or asked my mom for that $4 million in rent. It's a classic example of hindsight bias. But how did I end up in that situation? I just wanted the comfort of knowing that I could have won the game, that I'm smart enough to have won, and that I'm smart enough to have figured out exactly why I lost. Since I predicted a win for myself, losing triggered a part of me that looked back and said, well, duh, you obviously lost because of the move you did or didn't make. You just picked the wrong option. But I can only say that so confidently because I have the benefit of hindsight. Once the game ended and I knew all of my opponent's cards, it was easy for me to put 2 and 2 together. During the game, however, the information was vastly different. I could only base the outcome off of 2 elements: my own cards and the cards laid out in front of everyone else. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is it really worthwhile to try to figure out what you could or should have done in this 15-minute game, especially when the information you have during and after is so different? Let's look at this game of Monopoly from a different perspective. Why did I think I could just casually win this game in just 5 to 6 moves, aka 5 to 6 whole other rounds with 3 other players? Who did I think I was? This dilemma of making such unrealistic, yet seemingly realistic predictions at the time has been coined as forecast illusion by author Rolf Dobelli. Each chapter in this book deals with a different bias or fallacy and how to avoid falling in their trap. The chapter on forecast illusion talks about the dangers of making predictions about phenomena that really aren't predictable. Every other day, we witness a group of economists coining a new country as the future superpower of the world, or scientists at an Ivy League school predicting the inventions of the future. But there are arguably thousands of factors that go into making such claims. Is it even humanly possible to make such specific predictions without a supernatural force at play? The issue with these people making these predictions is that there are no repercussions to their actions. If proven right, they bask in all the glory. But if proven wrong, I mean, they were just predictions anyway. We can't always be right, right? This leniency and lack of liability mean powerful people can predict literally anything without having to face the music. I, on the other hand, know a thing or two about facing the music, and I'm currently on my longest Monopoly Deal losing streak. So the next time you want to cry over the game you lose, just think about the claims that I make. If I make a claim, be sure to take it with a grain of salt. Now, all this talk about the past and the future begs me to ask one question. What about the present? Let's put it in the way we'll all understand. Our good friend Tom here is entering his senior year of high school. Of course, he's stressing out about getting into a good college. His dream school is the University of Michigan. He's doing some in-depth analysis of his past academic records to gauge an idea as to what he'll need to guarantee admission. There are 2 possible outcomes that can occur here. 1, he's able to balance his academics and his college application in order to get in, Or 2, he stresses too much about the process, thus not focusing on his academics, which jeopardizes his odds of getting in. Because Tom got so carried away with his past performances and future prospects, he forgot about his current priorities. Did he get into UMich? Who knows, but he probably didn't qualify for a scholarship or 2. Now, I know it's easier said than done to avoid falling in the traps of hindsight bias and forecasting, but I mean, what better time to start than this year of clear vision? Can't wait for all those 2020 graduation hashtags. Anyway, living in the now is so important. And as cheesy as it sounds, all those live, laugh, love posters we see have to amount to something. So why not associate the 2020 vision with the present and just focus on what needs to be done now? I promise you, the clearer the world is around us now, the more attainable our future goals will seem. So the next time you don't want to talk to your sister anymore because she beat you for the 4th game in a row, instead of plotting your revenge or crying about the past, maybe it's time for you to admit the Monopoly deal just isn't really your game. Thank you.